Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, G. You look...
I look what?
You look great.
Well, you didn't ask him the question.
I need to know what I look like today.
You don't want me to say that on TV.
Good morning.
Good morning, Leila. How are you?
Good
to see you too. Good morning to you, viewers. We begin what's trending in Benue State, Nigeria, where the governor, Samuel Ortom, has threatened to impound any corpse that will be brought into the state as a measure to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The governor gave the directive while meeting some warring communities on Tuesday. He, however, gave an exception to families that want to bring the bodies of their loved ones into the state, insisting that such persons will have to obtain a medical report and an express permission from the State Action Committee on COVID-19. All right, I was quite...
Well, I don't know what
when I read
as well.
the story.
What Governor Ortom's problem is with corpses. The NCDC, Center for Disease Control, has a guideline on how corpses should be handled. Now, not corpses generally, but corpses resulting from COVID-19 related complications. Now, I don't know what kind of guideline the governor is given, because he seems to talk generally. He seems to be referring to just any corpse at all.
Yeah. Any corpse.
Because it's not every corpse that is COVID-19 related.
So it's really about stopping the spread of COVID-19.
If that is the case, we should refer Governor Ortom to the approved guidelines as to the handling of corpses by the NCDC. When we had Dr. Ihekwazu on this program, the last time he was here, he talked about the body being washed with chlorine. Experts from the NCDC or the State Ministry of Health to handle the corpse, and they should be well treated. Then the corpse is put in the body bag, and then, of course, all necessary precautions, once they're observed, then he says the NCDC has no problem with that. So maybe the NCDC would need to engage Governor Ortom and enlighten him.
It's another problem for these families.
Then second, he's talking about medical report. Well, you cannot argue with that. Any corpse is supposed to have a death certificate.
Absolutely.
He's talking about medical report. What he really has in mind is death certificate.
No, medical report.
Well, the death certificate...
First of all,
but when you die, your medical report is a death certificate.
The death certificate will indicate the cause of death. So, that's the technical, it's called death certificate. So he can insist and say, if you are bringing any corpse, we must see the death certificate. Well, I don't have a problem with that. He wants to take necessary precautions in that regard. But to say the state government will seize the corpse and bury it anywhere, no, that's arbitrary.
And according to the
dictatorial.
WHO, cadavers are not infectious. If he wants to go, he should go read the guidelines as well. There's no proof that these COVID-19 corpse so far could be infectious. The only thing that they say are people that have died through the pandemic influenza, their lungs could be infectious during an autopsy. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean... I'm really
a bit confused on his position, to be honest. But yeah.
Well, let's move on now. Let's head over to the U.S. President Donald Trump has caused yet another social media buzz as he has been accused of racism on Tuesday when he snapped at an Asian American CBS reporter who asked him why he was turning a tragic moment into a global competition on testing. Let's take a quick listen before we come back for our discussion.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if every day Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world, and maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty question.
Please go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But you pointed to me. I have two questions, Mr. President.
Next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on the young lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish,
okay.
But can I ask you
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Collins.
First of all, it was definitely racist. I don't think there's any argument about that whatsoever. If that was not an Asian American reporter, I doubt his response would have been, well, maybe you should ask China. That's number one. And two, he's just showcasing how much of a bully he is once again. He's a racist, he's a bully, and it's just so clear. This is not how you speak to reporters. I mean, her question wasn't, that wouldn't be the first question I would ask if I had my 30 seconds to ask a question at a press conference with Trump, but she still asked a question that, quite frankly, to many could be valid, and that was very, very racist.
That's a very
Well,
valid
is
point,
anybody
too.
surprised?
No.
I wasn't surprised,
Yes.
and I was
However,
actually shocked at the reporter too, because, like you said, that would not be my first question.
I'm glad she stood up for herself.
I'm glad she stood up for herself, but everybody knows who Donald Trump is. I mean,
Well, in any case, on the blame game against China, President Trump has been consistent. And, even if the person asking the question was not an Asian, he probably would also have responded the same
exactly what he said.
both
That's what he said.
both on his Twitter handle and elsewhere. He has been consistent in saying, oh, it's a Chinese virus, and it's China that should be blamed.
Yes.
That's the narrative. But in any case, yes, you are right. He's a bully. But also, as president having a press conference, it's his prerogative to call off the press conference
Right.
when he wants it to end.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was why he briskly moved away and said that was the end of it.
Yes, I thought it was a reasonable question, but given his stress level at this point, knowing that also he had that issue with Mike Pence and his reporter being, one of his secretary being infected with COVID-19, you could understand that he was really
I don't
outraged with
understand.
a
I
lot
think
of
you're
that.
the president. Be
Because
better
we know
prepared.
his pattern. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. We know his pattern, and we know that this is how he is.
Yeah. I just don't think it's
he was going
acceptable
to say
anymore.
anything different.
I just don't
didn't
think
he was
it's
going to say
acceptable
anything
anymore.
different.
We always just say this is how Trump is. Do you know
Yes.
what I'm saying? And I just don't think it's acceptable anymore. He's wrong, and he has to be called out for being wrong, not for being Trump.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, let's take another story in Spain where a 113-year-old Spanish woman has become the oldest person in the world to beat COVID-19. Maria Brañas was born in San Francisco in 1907, and during World War I, she moved to Spain, where she lived through the flu pandemic and the Spanish Civil War. She was diagnosed with COVID-19 in early April at a rest home where she lived for 2 decades. After weeks of isolation, Maria made full recovery. I love this story.
That's why I love when you bring these recovery stories.
She's 113 years
Amazing.
old. She did not show any symptoms, like her children said.
Amazing.
And then, just isolating herself, very
looks
little
so
medication.
healthy for
looks
113,
I know. And now, she joins that
One
whole
of the surprises that we have
list.
seen with COVID-19 is that we've had cases of persons who are above 100, surviving. And that in itself looks like a miracle.
Yes.
In the U.S., a 107-year-old World War veteran, William Laspiches.
Yes, we took that
He
story.
survived. In the U.K., a woman called Tichin.
Connie Teachin.
Yes, 106 years
106-year-old
old,
Britain.
also survived. And then you also have a lady from Holland,
And Italy as
also
well.
over 100
Right.
who survived. But in this particular case, this woman, the oldest woman in Catalonia and also in Spain, says, it's because of good health and also an active immune system that she's been able to beat coronavirus. And I guess, this will give hope to a lot of old people,
Yes.
grandparents, great-grandparents who may be battling with COVID-19 in other parts of the world. And even young people,
Yes.
who will say, well, if old people over 100 can survive, maybe there is truly hope for humanity.
Absolutely. Well, let's take our final story. Social media giant Twitter announced on Tuesday that it plans to let all employees who wish to work from home to do so for the foreseeable future, even if its offices reopen in the post-pandemic world. Twitter was one of the first companies to go to work from home model in the face of COVID-19. In a statement, the company said the offices will not likely open before September, and when it reopens, it will be a gradual and cautious process, and that there will be no in-person company events for the rest of 2020.
I think this is brilliant,
I
to
know.
be honest.
It just goes to show that we can, work from home.
A lot of
and be
companies are
productive,
going
yes,
to over
from
the
home.
next few years,
Yes.
especially as we transition into the fourth industrial revolution, and we are going to see it mainly with companies like Twitter, the Facebooks, and that lot. I think that's a good development.
Right.
Well, one of the fallouts of the COVID-19 pandemic is that the future of work will be affected. So this is an indication of what the future of work will look like. People will not only work from home, offices will have social distancing. Already, we have forgotten how to shake hands.
Yes.
People may no longer shake hands. And crowded spaces will be avoided.
Absolutely.
So this is all about the future of work. We'll see more of it.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Oji.
Thanks, Oji. See you tomorrow.